going on, guys? How is everyone doing? What's up, David, Keith, Sicko, Mavis from California? Wow. What's everyone looking at for this week? Jay Paul in this? Definitely not. What's up, William? Ultra, what's going on? Kamar, how you doing? Oh, Jay Paul is here. I thought you meant Jake Paul. I don't know why I thought you meant that. David, how you doing? Pedro, Doss, Steve, Brian, what's going on? Everyone's saying Apple. Apple, AMD. You want a turbo upgrade on your F-250 with your Tesla gains? That's awesome. Nothing better than actually like seeing those gains that you put in the work for and like actually, you know, buying something with it, right? You got to reward yourself here and there. Like a lot of people, you know, never take out their gains. Like I know I love to just keep my gains in my account. Continue and grow it. Continue to grow it, bigger and bigger the account, right? But you know, here and there you want to take the gains out and, you know, reduce your exposure to the market, right? Even if you're just sitting with cash in the account. It's a good practice to take you know, take some cash out, you know, every quarter or so. First thing I bought with my trading money is definitely, you know, paying off any debt or expenses that I had, right? The first thing you always want to do is, you know, take care of the business, right? You want to make sure you're financially safe, right? So every single year, all the gains I make at the end of the year, right, I'll put the expenses or the amount that I think I'm going to spend on expenses, right, in a separate account. You know, that way I have my expenses for the year paid, right? So I don't have to worry about, you know, paying the expenses. You know, I can trade with that peace of mind. Yeah, if you guys want to drop a like, I would appreciate it. Right, so trading with peace of mind is a game changer, right? If you're like, you're not like well rested, or, you know, there's so many different factors to it, you know, that could affect your trading, right? You always just want to be, you know, peace at mind. What's up, Nick? So everyone was saying Apple. What's on Apple? Looks like everyone's kind of looking at the same thing this week. Apple was on most people's list here. Look at that subscribe feature. That's pretty cool. Look at that. You guys see that at the top left of the screen, the subscribe button? I was playing around with it this weekend. I don't know. So Apple, you know, the first thing that I notice on Apple, right, is this wedge, right? We broke down and we broke this low here, right? So the fact that we broke this low is, you know, worrisome. Take a look at the overall chart. See where we could potentially bounce. You're gonna pay 6 months of mortgage. Yeah, you know, definitely pay off the mortgage. Right? You don't want to have to be trading with, you know, the thought in your head of, I have to pay this off. Right? If you pay it off, you're gonna be so much more. You know, you're gonna be way more calm and, you know, relaxed and, you know, focused on, you know, just making the best trades. So, you know, the first region I think we could potentially bounce here is, you know, this is like all chop, right? There's no major reversals in these, you know, regions where we're approaching, right? So, you know, the next major reversal is right at this level here, right? We rejected once, we bounced off this region again, right? We bounced here again, we bounced here again. This was a big dip. We bounced again, right? So we really don't have like a big time support here until, you know, around 157 to 156. You know, that region right there. How do I set it where your time frame column is open like that? Oh, like this? You just have to click the time frame and favorite the ones that you want. These are the ones I have favorited and the only ones I really use. And same goes with the bar down here, right? This is just all of the ones I have favorited, right? I have a bunch of, you know, different tools favorited. And these are the ones that, you know, show up on the bar here. Okay. So taking a look at Apple, you know, puts could definitely pay if, you know, the market continues to sell off here. Taking a look at SPY. SPY is at a, you know, a pretty heavy support here, right? We're sitting right at 426. And look where we reversed previously, right off 426. So, you know, we need to watch for a potential bounce here, right? And it was a previous resistance. You know, the next support down below is this 422 level, right? We had a major reversal right here. It was a previous resistance, was a previous support, right? So if this level doesn't hold, we're gonna, you know, ideally test 422, which is a 5-point move. 4-point move. And what I don't like, you know, with this chart is, right, we had this bottom put in place here, and, you know, puts right here would have been perfect, right? Hindsight, right? You know, easier to say now, but you know, it's always good to look back and see where you could have, you know, done better. You know, what's interesting is how these charts played out. All right, like take a look at this structure here. Right, so we had a little fake out, right? Rejected again, and then take a look at how it moves when it breaks out, right? So we put in a double bottom, right? Buyer stepped in way stronger at this low here, right? Huge candle, nice bullish candle here. It pushes up, it breaks out, right? It breaks this high here. This is like the point I would enter, right over this region here. And my price target is always this high, like the next high. But I always sell before it approaches it, right? Because when it approaches it, it typically, you know, starts to consolidate right before, you know, it reaches that final high right here. You know, another reason that this is where you could potentially start seeing chop, which is, you know, what happened here, right? So previous support, right? We bounced once, twice, 3 times, turned into a resistance, right? 1, 2, 3 times. So you enter over this high here, it pushes up, and you sell on the move to the upside. This is like typical structure, right? It starts to consolidate as soon as it approaches this, you know, main level, right? So you want to sell when the IV is the highest, which is, going to be right in this region, pushing through this resistance, right? And then it continues to chop to the upside, and then it ends up flagging again here. Right, so it ended up flagging. Right, so another flag here, but we broke out to the downside, right? So entry point, you can either enter there for a little quick scalp, right, for the final price target, which is the bottom or the top of the flag, or that previous high is this double bottom right here, right? You could have taken puts, enter puts with a price target of this high, and then the runners would continue to run. And take a look at how it retests, right? So we bounced once, bounced again, and then, right, price falls through, comes back up, retest it, and rejects. So this happens every single time. Price moves the exact same every single time, which is why you need to understand these patterns and how price moves. And you can also structure it like that, right? There's multiple ways to structure it on different time frames. Did that make sense? Drop a comment if that helped you, that little explanation. I like covering stuff like that to help you guys trade better, personally. Drop a like on the video. That'd be great. The volume profile that I use is the VPVR, and this is what it is. And it's really as simple as that, right? You put the plan together. You guys are probably sick of hearing me say it, right? Plan the trade and trade the plan. But it's so simple, right? Everyone's trying to complicate trading. Take a look at the chart, right? Find the level of resistance, right? So resistance, it breaks out, right? It starts to flag, pushes back up. It starts to, reject right at that level, right? So notice how this resistance acted as a resistance again, and then acted as a resistance again before a big sell-off. Right, and then it rejected again, and look how price bounces off of this trend line, right? So previous resistance turns into a new support, pushes back up, and then it continues to fall through and sell off right through this level. Right, same thing with IWM. Resistance, right? It pushes through, it doesn't clear the high here, it consolidates, it pulls back right into this this zone, which is why I love to draw out these support supply and demand zones, right? Because if I just drew a level like this, I'm gonna think it rejected here, and people might take puts, and so on. This is why I like to draw the zones. Okay. VIX, absolutely crazy last week, right? We knew this was going to happen, right? Based on this pattern, right? Multiple resistances, multiple supports, price is consolidating, getting tighter and tighter. That breakout, right? It pushes through this high here, right? So this previous support becomes that new resistance, and once it breaks, it goes. So same thing over and over and over again. Would appreciate if everyone can drop a like on the video. How do I read VPVR? I think Ghost has like a little section in the Discord to help you understand that. So I would go take a look at that in the market resources section. But But I mean, I don't really have much on my watch list yet. But for Tesla, what I'm looking at here, this is the only indicators I use, right? This and option flow. I always use option flow for everything. Right, so on Tesla, right? So we bounced once, again, right? We rejected at this level, we bounced again, we rejected, and then we bounced multiple times across the board here. Right, so right now we're just trading in a range. So we need to be patient here. But taking a look at the smaller time frame, I kind of like this structure here. Right, so we have first thing I want to point out here, this region right here. Right, so we have a support, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, turned into a resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, right, and we reject it again. So what I'm looking at here, right, this little flag doesn't need to be so perfect. You could do it like this. I think I like that. All right, so this is more of a bear flag. So we could definitely get a push back down to this level, 973. But if we do get a break, the upside, right, I would look for calls over this little double top here. Right, this candle and candle, and 15. And this would just be a quick scalp play, right? Because we're on a smaller time frame, right? The pattern is way smaller, right? It's just data from Friday, right? If this flag was data from a week, then it would be a little bit of a longer play. All right, take calls through this level, and you just look for a move into this region here, which if you enter here at 10:15, right, ideally I would take about a 10:50 call. Right, probably it has the most volume, right? Psychologically, most people are going to choose the 10:50 call. And on a Monday and Tuesday it still has plenty of time, so 10:50 would be perfect in this scenario. And I would just take a quick scalp and look for move into this zone here. And then the same goes for puts, right? If you want to play puts at the break of this level, you totally can. Right, you enter there and you look for a gap fill back down to this region here. Right, which if you entered here 1,000, I would take like a 970 put, right at this support here. How do I evaluate charts for the upcoming week when so many of them are broken? What do you mean by broken? So how I evaluate charts is just taking a look at the support and resistance, right? The supply and demand zones, making sure I'm aware of, where we are within the chart. Right. So for example, if this support breaks, right, the next level below is going to be this previous resistance, right? This is like the next major level here. And how did I choose this level? So, right, it's a little bit of a wide gap, right, from 930 to 950, but this previous support, right, turned into a new resistance, right? It rejected once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and then it rejected again before pushing through. So this zone right here is going to act as a potential support. And how do I choose what time frame? It just, personal, like what I think looks best, right? Like if I'm looking at this pattern, and if I want to take a day trade, I'm not going to look at the 2 hour, right? I can't really formulate or put together a plan with these couple candles, right? I need to take a look at the smaller time frame and see what's going on here. 10 minutes, pretty nice for like intraday trading, right? You can see like the most recent data. The 10-minute is pretty nice. And then for like intraday scalping or day trading, like for just the day, You know, the 3 minute I use that a lot as well, and the 5 minute. You know, I just switch between all these. You know, there's no like specific time frame that's best. You know, you just have to keep trading and you'll find, you know, what works best for you. So I'm taking a look at Snapchat, right? So it had some pretty odd flow. Let me pull this up. 1 second. So here's Snapchat. All right, so 3 minutes before the close on Friday, someone put 308,000 on a 32 call for this Friday. So, you know, this is definitely interesting. Out of the money, a ton of contracts at a cheap price, right? On the asking price, and they sweeped it. So, you know, this is something I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on this week. Because if we also take a look at the chart here, right, we're sitting at a heavy support. All right, so this previous resistance has acted as a new support once, twice, and now potentially 3 times. So the market, you know, bounces, those calls are gonna be very nice. So Mavis, why do you think Snap looks bearish? It just had earnings, right? They did bad on earnings, but it's holding very well, right? So at this level right now, you know, you always got to be neutral, right? You don't want to predict. You want to, you know, play the levels. So right now, that call is making me lean though bullish because of how out of the money it is and the size of the order. What's up, John? How are you? So, Twitter, I like this a lot too this week. Perfect flag, right? We broke out over this resistance perfectly. Now we're kind of flagging here, right? Price action is moving sideways, setting up for a move. So, you know, I actually want to cover this. All right, so taking a look at this chart, kind of looks like nothing, but right now looking at it, looks pretty damn good. Right, it doesn't need to be perfect. What I like about this is how this flagged right below the previous resistance, and it created this triangle perfectly. Right, a flat top, higher and higher lows, and then once this broke out, right, it pushed right through. Right, so entry, right, entry point is over this level here. Either this level, or if you know, if you're quick enough, this is obviously the ideal entry point. And then it pushes through, then it starts to consolidate, you know, at that next resistance. But now it's flagging again, so I'm watching this week. Right, this little triangle here. I like this triangle. Plus, if you know, kind of curious to see what happens with Elon and potentially buying this, would be interesting. I like an entry point over 49.30. Right, this previous support acting as a resistance now 3 times. Right, rejected, rejected, rejected. I'm gonna add my alert. There's a lot of earnings this week. And Chris, regarding your question, do I trade names a day after earnings, such as Google or Amazon? If it has a setup, I'll trade it. As simple as that, right? If it has a setup that I like, I'll trade it. Square, kind of watching for a reversal here, right? We bounced once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and we're approaching this level here. And we're kind of putting in a bottom here, looks like. Oh, looking for an entry over this level here for a push up. Same thing with AMD. All right, kind of a little wedge here, not my favorite. You know, keeping an eye on it. Nvidia, right, it broke this major support. Right, we bounced multiple times off this 211 level. But now it's sitting at this level here, right? So this previous bounce at 195, we're sitting right at it again. So you need to be patient here and see what happens. There's better setups available, in my opinion. Like Amazon, let's see, right? So all these names have earnings coming up. Take a look at where it's at. Right, we bounced once, twice, 3 times. That was a huge dip by here, and now again. All right, so if it's going to reverse, it's going to be, you know, right here. Pretty interesting to look at. ATV I haven't looked at in a long time. Oh, I guess I have. It was flagging perfectly and I was taking a look at it. Clear levels of resistance. All right, clear level of support. It's kind of dipping below here. They have earnings tomorrow. Oh, should be interesting, but we'll see what happens. Love this live. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys are learning something, would appreciate if you guys can drop a like. As always. But yeah, my goal is to, you know, obviously educate you more than, you know, show you setups for the week. Right, because the market's always going to change. And, you know, by the open tomorrow, see what happens. So futures are down. What else is new? Details on buyout tomorrow. Yeah, it should be interesting. I'm keeping an eye on that chart though, because, you know, if it gets some good news with a nice chart, you know, I think a run. Disney, right, sitting at this support as well. You know, but most recent data, no pattern, so I wouldn't trade it. FSLY, haven't looked at this in a long time. All right, also you guys need to be aware of like the overall trend here, right? So, you know, from February of 2021, it's just gone straight down. So you need to be aware of that. Don't really like the setup. Walmart. Walmart looks ready to tank. Right, like this. What I see. Like breaking down perfectly. Right, I wouldn't be a buyer or a trader until this level here. right? Because it can just chop in between here, right? It's also sitting at this previous resistance, right? Rejected once, twice, and it didn't bounce here. So the fact that it didn't bounce here is, you know, another reason why I wouldn't want to trade this here. QQQ, sure thing. All right, take a look at the overall chart. You know, I kind of want to see these lows again. All right, now we're just trading in a range, right? We broke this bottom here. And now we're pushing down to the next step. All right, this is a lot of chop here. I mean, this previous resistance could act as a support, right in this region here, 324. Honestly, I never trade bank names. I really just stick to like the you know, the main, not the main, right? It depends. I really stick to the same tickers. Like I trade these names like every week. You know, like these are the names I stick with. Coin, right? And nothing really looks amazing. Wait, remember this? D-Dog? Oh yeah. Wait, so last stream I covered this. I totally forgot. On 414, they bought 422 puts. 414. Wait. Okay. Let's plan this. So 414 right before close. So where's my arrow? 414. Like right in this region here. And look at that. Oh, these went deep in the money, right? They bought 135 puts. And these closed at 118. So they bought them for 4.4. So at close, these are worth, you know, way more. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. See what they're worth. Right, these should have been worth like 1,700 a contract at close if they, you know, ended up exercising them. Which they bought 113,000, 129,000, and 132,000 worth, all in individual sweeps. So that's like an example of, you know, repeat flow, right? So they bought at 339, 351, and 352, all bearish put sweeps at the ask, right? Every high was getting rejected. So that's a good example. That's funny that we you know, found that from last week. Let's take a look at the flow, see if we can find anything interesting. All right, so I'm looking for out of the money. I want to find a short expiration, right? Because that's what I trade. Right, so I'm going to go like 3 weeks out. Let's see, so this was all past close. Increase the premium, find the big boy trades. Right, to over 100,000. We have out of the money calls, out of the money puts. You know, we could do volume greater than open interest. And you can obviously do these as well. Let's see what we got. I'm going to look before close. So Twilo puts bullish. So, you know, I'm going to put this Oh my god, I didn't mean to click that. That's something we're fixing too. We don't have to keep resetting these filters. Let me just fix this one more time. I'm going to put these next to it to compare it easier. I never sell premium, ever. Let's see what's going on here. Anything that is interesting. All right, so what I'm looking for is directional. Right, so snap, right, calls with bullish, right? KWEB bullish, $2 out of the money, 5/6 expiration for 171,000. So, right, you could also just click this and take a look at the chart this way. Change the time frame and all that. So let's see. Right, so they took 27 calls. What did I do? So personally, I don't like the setup. We'll see what happens. Let's keep an eye on it next week. This one right here. Out of the money, short expiration, a lot of money. A lot of premium, right? 2,234 contracts at $77. Other than that, there's really not much that catches my eye. Here's a dark pool. We have a lot of improvements coming soon, guys, so just stay tuned. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about BA. Thanks, David. I'm gonna add this to my watch list this week. All right, we are in this wedge perfectly. All right, multiple supports across the bottom, multiple resistances, right? So price action's getting tighter and tighter. You know, chart looks pretty good. Watch this region though, right? We bounced once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, rejected right here. Watch this region, right? I already had it drawn out. VIX is just volatility, right? You can also plan out, you know, what the market's gonna do taking a look at this. So, right, take a look at the chart and, you know, watch it based off that. FDX, bear flag. Could trade it right off this. Right, calls to the upside or take puts below here. Not too bad. Keep my eye on this. I'll add it to the watch list. MU. Yeah, Micron has alright, this support here. Right, it kind of just broke through this level here. I need to be careful about that. I wonder how like Mara looks. Crappy. Google we covered already, guys. Alright, nothing special. They have earnings too. Uber. Same, it kind of looks like BA. Just broke out of this wedge to the downside. HD. All right, just broke below the support. All right, it's pushing to the downside. All right, like this was like a perfect wedge here. All right, like taking this here, broke through and then pushed up right to the target. But I don't like this. Like this already played out. The IBM. Huh. Interesting. I actually kind of like this. So what I like about this, it really needs to push through here. All right, so taking a look at this region, look how many times it rejected. All here, right? This is a daily, right? Rejected, 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 and it's sitting at this level again. So it's had trouble so much around this region here. But once it breaks this high, it should push up to the high 145. Check it out on the weekly. Jeez. Like sitting right over it. Take a look at the smaller time frame. Kind of flagging too here. All right, it's kind of flagging. I'll add it to the watch list and keep an eye on it. Also set an alert over this level here. No, this is definitely not a falling wedge. But it is sitting at a pretty big time support. Look at the overall trend, like that's brutal. Needs to hold this level, otherwise it's gonna continue to move down. Wow, I can't believe Robinhood is $10. That's nuts. And I remember Kathy Wood keeps buying. She was buying all over here. She keeps buying and buying and buying. See it. GME. So one thing with the falling wedge, guys, is like when it starts to get extended like this, right? It starts to kind of invalidate it. There's really no like perfect way to explain it. I don't know how I would explain it. Like this looks good up to this point, right? You know, I guess you can make it, you could draw it like this, but the fact that it's like so extended is just kind of like, you know, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good right off this level here. See what we got. So that low and that low. Right, so now I can use those points as an entry level, 145 and 150. And once that breaks, we're going to look for 160. And once that breaks, we're going to look for 166. That's how you plan out the levels, right? You just find the major levels. So now let's go zoom in a little bit. See where I would potentially enter here. Right, I could take an entry right around this region, right? We bounce once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, so it's going to act as a resistance. It lines up perfectly with this angled line. I'm going to add it to the watch list. Keep an eye on it. I wonder how AMC looks. Crappy. Kind of reminds me of space, of how jumpy it is. CRM, whoops. Not my. Also, like, be aware, like, when I say I don't like it, doesn't mean, you know, it's not tradable, right? I'm sure, as most of you know, I trade a very specific type of chart. You know, I just look for the patterns, right? I'm a price action trader. You know, take everything with a grain of salt, of course. Formulate your own opinion. You know, and trade what you like, right? Right. So, you know, just to put that out there. I always like to make sure everyone, you know, is aware of, you know, who they're, you know, really listening to, and, you know, take opinions from multiple people. But you always want to, you know, formulate your own opinion based on, you know, what you know. I hate trading a Roku, right? Because it just goes down, 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 down every single day, right? Overall trend is just down, so I just keep avoiding it, right? I've been looking at, you know, like the names in an uptrend. Chewy broke this. Snell, let's take a look at, broke that. US broke that. Uber looked decent. Darna broke that. Take a look, what else we got here? Facebook sitting at this low here. Earnings this week. Yeah, Roku puts, you know, definitely have been paying big time. All those names, right? Roku, like Zoom. I mean, like this, I can't believe that Kathy Wood just continues to buy. What do you guys think of this company long term? I would like to hear everyone's opinion. What are your thoughts about Zoom, right? So obviously with COVID, it was like massive. Everyone worked from home. But like nowadays, you know, everyone's back in the office. Yes, people are doing Zoom meetings more frequently, but like Microsoft Teams is way better, in my opinion, than Zoom, right? There's also WebEx. There's also a bunch of other platforms that do the same exact thing as Zoom, right? And I don't know about you, but I would never pay for extra minutes for like Zoom makes their money from, I guess, companies that use it, right? Like individual users aren't going to pay for, you know, a premium membership for Zoom. I feel like that's just like the biggest waste of money on the planet, is to buy extra buy a extra or like a premium on a premium sub for Zoom, I feel like that's just idiotic. Unless you're actually, you know, making meetings over an hour long or whatever, and you want to, you know, an increased amount of people. Yeah, so Kumar thinks Zoom's worth 50 max. I agree. Zoom and news for huge payout long term. Zoom gets in, yeah, so Zoom gets integrated with Microsoft Teams acquisition, right? Then, right, an acquisition would totally change the game, right? That's a completely different conversation for another day. Yeah, I like Microsoft Teams better. Yeah, Zoom is just, you know, video calling. They need to expand to something else, because I mean, I just don't see it. The next Netflix. This has been, yeah, this has just been dying. I'm interested to see earnings. I'm really interested to see earnings. All right, so Zoom is like one of these names, or like, what do you guys think of PLTR? I remember, you know, this was like the most popular name ever for like a few weeks, right? Because of this run up that it had. And everyone was like, this is like the next Amazon. Or next, you know, huge company. But look at it, right? That, like Neo, all these names. I'll never trade any of these. Yeah, PayPal is getting hit big time. Down over 50%, 60% from the high. Jeez. 70%. It's down about 72% from the high. That's just insane. Right? Like now these stocks are coming down to like real value, right? So this COVID run up absolutely accelerated so many stocks for no reason. Right? So now it's back to March of 2020, pre-pandemic lows is where it's at. Or pandemic lows, I should say, right? So February 19th is when it started to get bad, but March, I remember like around mid-March is when it really got bad. Yeah, Visa. Let's take a look at Visa. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Yeah, you know, I just like, if it bounces off this level, you know, for sure, right? You could play calls to the upside. Has earnings this week. We'll see what happens here. I just don't understand Zoom and why Kathy Wood keeps buying. It makes no sense to me. A lot of other people agree. All right, here's RK. Square, did I cover? PayPal, I don't like, but Square, you know, it could potentially bounce here, right? We bounce once, twice, 3 times, 4 times in this region right here. So, you know, definitely watch that. You know, and you could trade like one of these patterns. Right, this is what I was looking at earlier. DRM I did already. Right, so you could trade this. Right, like a break over this high for a push up to like 107. Yeah, Kathy was getting doomed. Getting murdered. But Kathy Wood is either going to be the biggest idiot of all time or like the most genius fund manager of all time, right? Like everyone hates on her, like we're all hating on her right now because it's not working, but that's like any business, you know. Everyone looks stupid until it works, right? So if she's right and all these, you know, high potential growth risky names play out the way that she thinks they're gonna, you know, she's gonna have an insane year, or couple years, I should say, right? If we have like a massive growth run, right? Like when you start a business and, right, your friends and family typically think, oh, you know, probably not a good idea, right? Or too risky, right? That's like what she's doing here, right? She's taking like the riskier names with the high growth potential. And then once it works, everyone, you know, hops on the bandwagon and you know, praises them. Always happens. So, you know, something to, you know, she's gonna either, you know, be an idiot, a clown, or genius. We'll see what happens. Yeah, she's thinking far into the future. So, right, she says she always goes back to her 5-year plan, which I'm curious if she's just saying that because she actually believes that, or she just wants investors' money for 5 years and people to continue buying in. Oh yeah, ARK can bounce massive, right? If her stocks have a run up, right, there's huge room for upside potential, right? They're all growth names, so you know they can all double and triple in price. Which, you know, one that I like is ARKG. You know, the genomic sector, you know, it's getting hit pretty heavy, but if you believe in genomics or genomics, however you say it, you know, I think it's a great name, right? It's innovative, right? It could be like the next tech, right? In like 10-15 years, you know, 5-10 years, you know, these companies can be like, you know, the next thing, like gene editing and all that, you know, crazy stuff that I have no idea anything about. Yeah, could be strong sell. It says funny. So this is actually pretty cool to look at, right? You can also see, you know, all these, and you can also see pivot points based on the time frame you're at. So if you're in the 1 day, right, it's gonna like 44.35, 39.52, right? It changes based on the time frame, and it gives you the Fibonacci. I don't use those, but you know, something interesting to look at that TradingView offers if you're having trouble support and resistances. Yeah, all ARK has a strong sell. If you guys are still here and haven't dropped a like, appreciate if you could do so. All right, guys, I think on that note, I'm gonna head out. If you have any questions, you know, feel free to, you know, tag me and ask, you know, either in the Discord or on Twitter, you know, whatever it may be. I always get back to you guys. Again, let's have a good week. And one thing I wanted to bring up before you guys head out, actually, let me open this one more time, is the sessions that I'm doing, the group sessions. Let me open, and I'll show you on how to find it. All right, so you go in the account, click the link, group mentorship session. All right, I'm going to be doing these every Thursday. It's going to be a much more exclusive session, right? 10 people max, right? So you guys can ask way more individualized questions. It's going to be on Zoom, so you guys are going to be able to talk back to me, and you know, we're going to be able to discuss the market on Thursdays, and you know, I'm going to, you know, try and dramatically improve your guys's trading game. Right, so these are every Thursday. You click this right here. Right, 6 spots left for Thursday, an hour and 30 minutes at 8 p.m. on Thursday Eastern time. You can also sign up for next week. You know, so these are some of the things I'm going to cover. I'm also, you know, we're going to cover the market, right, Monday to Thursday, and what I'm going to be looking at on Fridays. So, right, it is $100. Everything costs money nowadays, but $100 is minimal to the amount you're going to learn. So absolutely worth it. in my opinion, and a bunch of others' opinions who have already done these sessions, right? Invest in your education. On 0 day to expiration, we're gonna have multiple setups that we're gonna plan. Right, we're gonna plan the trade on stream, and we're gonna trade the plan on Friday, and we're gonna do that every single Thursday. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited to do that. So, link in the bio. Right, I showed you how to do it. You just click this, go here, and there you go. All right, guys, have a good one. Trade safe, size small. Don't be an idiot. And let's make some money this week. And don't focus on making the money though. Focus on making the best trades. Right? If you make good trades, money will come with it. So on that note, have a good one, guys. See you guys next time.